I think a barometer for what goes in the parish is the number of school children. Since our public schools in West Feliciana, we get the vast majority, about 97% of all eligible school children in the parish. We're kind of a barometer of what some trend lines can happen and some predictors for the future. In the last 2 years, and we put on our thinking caps and we're trying to be soothsayers and find out what's going on, but in the last 2 years, total, we have lost right at 100 students. Now, in many cases, when you talk to school districts, when they say they lost students, it's because of many reasons, population shifts, but in most cases in schooling, it's dissatisfaction with the public and they seek somewhere else. Well, we would be really attuned to that, and we call and we see the transfers. And that's not what's happening. These are people that are moving out of the parish or out of the state. And we've looked at some of these trends, decreasing birth rate, what comes in, seniors, that goes out, seniors, what comes in, pre-K in our case. And we've seen a slight decrease. And we've tried to think and figure out, is that possibly an economic thing? For example, we had growth up to 2 years ago. But a lot of our growth has been in the middle grades. And when I said maybe it has an economic trend to that, is it possible the price of housing, the families that move in are not starter families? I'm talking about a man and a wife, and then they start a family. Is it established family? And we've seen that. We've seen the people that move in our parish have a middle school or a high school, or a fifth grader, a seventh grader, a 12th grader. So, but those exit the system after time. Like 10 years ago, we started getting big growth. And maybe they're exiting the system now, and we don't have the birth rate to sustain that type of continuation. We know Timbeck had a major impact on that. And so we don't want to let that skew these statistics, because we know probably 40 or 50 of these kids maybe have a direct impact with the Timbeck closure. So, but for planning purposes, we get funded by student count. And increased students, you get more money. 1. 2, you cannot staff schools with, well, next year we might have one less. You hire people because of quality hires. You can't say, well, you hired this year, but you don't have a job next year. So you can have 19 kids in a class or 23 kids in a class, but you don't get rid of, add teachers, get rid of them for those reasons. So staffing. We talk to many young people that come in that want to move into our parish, and young teachers. And generally, the other thing that's a trend line, we usually hire teachers that are veterans. Why? Usually it's a husband and wife team, and they can afford to live in West Feliciana. So all these things, I think, goes, and I don't understand demographics, and I don't know trends in development, but I think we see a consistent theme, and it's something about affordable housing. And I think y'all know the same thing. And for us personally, we invite this numbers to come to a school board meeting, because we're not lucky to get the numbers there. But we have the same thing that all public bodies, and I'll end with this unless you have questions, all public bodies have the same thing in West Feliciana. We have increasing cost. We have diminishing revenues. The bridge, no, that's a 3-year, that's going to be a 3-year funding boom. But that's sales tax. That doesn't bring any property tax in. It's going to really help. But we've seen the state revenue and the local revenue, mainly the nuclear power plant, you know, we depreciate from 1 to 1.5%. Our funding is going down. Our funding is going down. Our taxes have remained the same. We haven't raised any new taxes, and hopefully we will not. But our costs are continuing. I mean, you know how your costs in your homes and electricity and water and everything else. So we in West Feliciana, population is really important to schools, and I know it's important to public bodies like the sheriff and the police jury. Any questions? I hope that's, Mr. Ambrose, is kind of some trend lines, what we see. And we don't see it picking up. We know the applications. We do not see in the next couple of years much reversal in that because of the young. We know how many 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds that in these pre-programs. You know.
Question next on your high school seniors, graduating seniors. Do you have an idea of your graduating classes? How many actually go on to, by taking standardized test scores, go on to college as opposed to those that
Yes,
actually? You do
yes, sir. We do post-graduation inquiries, et cetera, but we have a very high, like 72% of our kids get into the community, or 72%. That fluctuates every year, but right now we have 72% of this class will attend some type of higher education now. The major, we've lost $700,000 in state funding.
How are we ranking as far as teacher pay in the region? Are we above?
In the region, we're slipping. We've been around the top for years, and now I think it's only a few $100s, a few thousand separate all of them, but we're in the top 10 or 12, but we have slipped. We used to be first, but we've slipped somewhat just because of decrease in revenues, but the bridge is going to help somewhat, I think. Thank goodness we have a very healthy, compared to most systems. We've operated with a surplus for the past 5 years, and we have a pretty good fund balance. Now, with the bridge coming in, we can make it for a few years. I worry about us competing with salaries, but that's an internal thing. But we've accumulated pretty good fund balance. We can live for a few years with a deficit.
So what about your retention? Have you had problems with retaining the existing teachers here over the past 5 years?
Not really. I think we have a decent system and they understand the value. So once we hire them, we spend a lot of time in recruitment and getting the people that we think might stay. But we do have some, but like this year, we probably don't have 5 teacher vacancies. That's not a lot out of 200.
I guess with the process that you all been going through with the new development that's being proposed out here at Shaw Hill, that's going to elevate your situation a little bit with all they have in mind, hopefully?
Wherever, I really don't know that a lot about. I've read about it, but just any housing, affordable housing, whatever.
Appreciate it.